I'm Morgan. I'm a vegan life and wellness coach, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that's not really related to veganism, but it's an activity that you can do if you're feeling unhappy and you're not really sure why, right? Sometimes we're just not feeling great, we're anxious, we're depressed, or something's off, but we're not really sure what's off. So what I would ask you to do is write a list of things you're tolerating. And while this certainly could apply to, your transition to veganism and health, diet, it doesn't have to be. It can be a very general activity. So what you would do is just sit down and, I know sometimes we think these things and we keep them in our head. And it's often not enough, right? Writing them down and having them be physical and something that you can see is really powerful, right? Maybe you're thinking off the top of your head, you're like, maybe there's one or two things. But when you write them down, you might realize like, wow, there's a lot that I'm tolerating in all these different parts of my life. And from there, you're able to kind of dig deeper and keep going. So if you're wondering like, what do I mean? So think of work, right? Do you have a boss that you don't like? Is the work not fulfilling? At home, do you live with a bad roommate? Is there clutter everywhere? Are you unhappy with where you're living? And it can be friendships, like I said, diet. It could be you don't like the diet you're on and you're always hungry and you're tolerating that. Or you don't feel good and you're just tolerating not feeling good because it seems too big or too much to make a change. So this is all stuff that you can write down and include in your list of things that you're tolerating. So write them down. Anything that comes to mind. There's no right or wrong answer. This is for you, right? You don't have to share it. You don't have to tell anybody about it. Just write them down. After you've written down your list, take a look at it. Reread it. Is there anything you're missing? Is there something you're forgetting? Is there something you don't want to admit that you're tolerating? Try and just get it out. After it's all out there, look at this and think, why am I tolerating these things? It really depends on the thing, obviously, but for a lot of things in our life, it's convenience, it's fear, it's safety, fear of change, or it's comforting and it's just what you know and it's too big to make a switch and do something different or get outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it feels safe because you know this, right? Like, if you were to change your scenario, if you were to leave your job, if you were to leave your relationship, if you were to get rid of all the clutter and all your belongings, well, you don't know that, right? Like, it's not part of your experience. So we'll often just compromise and put up with stuff because that's easier. So take some time and look at those things. After you've looked at them, like I said, think about why are you tolerating them. Write that down too. Get it out there. After you've had a chance to look at what you're tolerating and thought a little bit about why, take some time to imagine your life without those things. What would your life look like if this didn't exist? If your whys didn't exist either, what would your life look like? Take some time to just visualize that and then write that down too. Like I said, just having that in front of you and in physical form and on paper can be really powerful and can be the start of something new. After you've had time to imagine what life would be like without these things, really think about it. Is tolerating it worth it? Are your whys really worth it? What would it look like without those fears and those whys? Where did these fears come from? Are they based on beliefs that you hold? Where did those beliefs come from? Are they your beliefs? Are they a friend's, family members, your mom, your dad? Did something happen in childhood that told you that, you had to hold on to everything so you could never get rid of it because you didn't have a lot as a kid? So now you keep everything, but the clutter makes you unhappy, right? There's so many different ways that you can apply this, but take a look and think about what beliefs do you have about those fears, about that safety, and about what those things serve in your life, and about why you're tolerating. Write them down. Write down some of your beliefs. And then target, whose are they? Are they yours? Figure that out. Just, and it might be something that takes some time, or maybe you just don't know. And that's okay too. After looking at these, ask yourself, is this true? Is it true that, that antique lamp in the corner is irreplaceable and you're gonna miss it if you don't eat it? Is it true that if you transition to a vegan diet, you'll never be happy and always be hungry? Is it true that if you leave your current relationship, you'll never find happiness? Are those things true? Ask yourself. After trying to determine if they're true, you might get stuck. And that's okay to get stuck. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you're just not there yet. Or maybe they seem true to you because you hold these beliefs. Something that can be helpful is to find evidence that counters that belief, right? Like maybe you tune in and you watch Marie Kondo and you see her clear out all these houses and how happy and how fulfilled and how great this is. And you see that, you know, there's not happiness in possessions. Or maybe you get online and you search stories of like they left a bad relationship or an abusive scenario and it seemed like they had to be in it and it was hard to leave, but it was possible. It was hard and it was possible, right? Try and find counter evidence, and it can be from your own life, right? If you have a belief that you're not good enough to do something, maybe think of a time where you were good enough or somebody complimented you on that skill that you think you lack, and write these down. And, you know, use this exercise as a way to kind of get it out there and really target what's happening in my life. Are these things true? Why am I tolerating this? And when you go through that and you read it, it's big stuff, right? It can be really overwhelming and it will make sense. All of a sudden you'll be like, that's why I feel this way. That's why I'm upset, or that's why I don't feel good, or that's why I'm so anxious, because look at all these things that I'm tolerating. And then try and make a commitment. Pick one thing. Look at it and go, you know what? I'm not going to do this to myself anymore. I'm not going to tolerate these things. And that could look very differently depending on what the thing is. But make a commitment to change at least one thing. And depending on the size of that thing, it could be in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, whatever it is. Just look and make a commitment to changing one thing. And after you get that one thing, go to the next and the next and the next. And this might be an activity that you come back to. And it's probably helpful because we carry these things around and we tolerate so much. And until you put it out there, you don't really think of it. You don't see the grand picture. Like I said, this is an activity that you can do at any point. If you are struggling with something, if you feel something is off, you know, spend some time and sit down with yourself and really evaluate what's going on. You don't have to tolerate it, right? Like there's so much that we can control in our lives, and often we will tell ourselves that it's the only answer and that this is the easiest way and that's not possible for me and somebody else can do that but I can't. You have to make that choice. You have to look at those things and think, I'm not going to continue living my life that way. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, leave a comment, let me know. I'll leave some of these questions in the description as well in case you missed anything. That way you can come back to this activity and you know, just get a quick refresher. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.